对先见瑞西吉美谦卑王波将北洋刚健给主给宗可巴罗桑扎贝夏拉索瓦雷米美德千千瑞西吉美谦美王波将北洋刚健给天宗可巴罗桑扎贝夏拉索雷米美德为德切见瑞西吉美谦卑王波将北洋刚健谦卑主给宗可巴罗桑扎贝夏拉索瓦雷米美德为德先见瑞西大众齐齐王波将北洋刚健谦卑主给宗可巴罗桑扎贝夏拉索瓦雷米美德为德先见瑞西吉美谦卑王波将北洋刚健谦卑主给宗可巴罗桑扎贝夏拉索瓦雷米美德德千见瑞西吉美谦卑王波将北洋刚健谦卑主给宗可巴罗桑扎贝夏拉索瓦雷米美德为德切见瑞西吉美谦卑王波将北洋刚健谦卑主给宗可巴罗桑扎贝夏拉索瓦雷米美德德千千瑞西 己美谦卑王波将北洋，刚健谦卑主根宗可巴罗桑扎贝夏拉索瓦德弥美耶为德千见瑞西基美谦卑王波加北洋刚健谦卑主根宗可巴罗萨贝夏拉索瓦德弥美耶为德千见瑞西基美谦卑王波将刚健谦卑主根宗可巴罗桑扎贝夏拉索瓦德弥美耶为德千见瑞西基美谦卑王波将北洋刚健谦卑主根宗可巴罗桑扎贝夏拉索瓦德弥美耶为
礼敬尊者三拜。
基美
你给合上去啊，给我。อาจารย์นำเลยนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชชาจารณสัมปันโน สุขโตโลกวิอนุตตโรปุริสธรรมสารติสัทธาเทวมนุสานังพุทโธภควติสวากขาโตภควตาธัมโมสันทิติโกอากาลิโกเอหิปัสสิโกโอปัญญิโกปัจจตังเวทิตาโพวินโยหิติสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอุชุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสายปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามิจิปฏิปันโน
Learning to be skillful in handicrafts, well trained in discipline, and to be of good speech. This is the greatest.
ทังจัตตาริปุริสายุคานิอัฏฐปุริสปุคลาเอสะภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอาหุนายโยปาหุนายโยทักขินายโยอัญชลิการณิโยอนุตตรังปุญญาเขตังโลกัสสติอาเสวนาจะพาลานังปันดิตานันจะเสวนาปูชาจะปูชนิยานังเอตัมมังคารมุตตมังปฏิโรปเทสวาโสจะปุเพจะกตปุญญาตาอาตสัมมาปณิทิจเอตัมมังคารมุตตมังภาหุสัจจันจะสิปัญจวินโยจะสุสิกิโตสุภาสิตาจยาวาจาเอตัมมังคารมุตตมังมาตาปิตุปัฏฐานังปุตตาราสสังฆโหอนากุลาจะกัมมันตาเอตัมมังคลมุตตมันติ
Thank you. Historically, the Buddha's first Dharma teaching, now recorded in Pali, the foundation of Buddha Dharma.喂，这中文的对。
就以历史的角度而言，佛陀一开始是以巴利语来传授佛教的教义，所以而形成了佛教的最基本的结构，教育的结构。接下来用华语传授形式。
So the Chinese translation will be
阿弥陀心经，观自在菩萨心生般若波罗蜜多时，照见五蕴皆空，度一切苦厄舍利子，舍不异空，空不异色，色即是空，空即是受想行识亦复如是舍利，是诸法空相，不生不灭，不垢不净，不增不减，是故空中无色无受想行 心识，无眼耳鼻舌身，无色声香味触法，无眼界乃至无意识界，无名义，无名句，乃至无老死期，无苦集灭道，无智亦无得，亦无所得，菩提萨埵依般若波罗蜜多故，其无挂，无挂碍故，无有恐怖，远离颠倒梦想，究竟涅槃，三世诸佛依般若波罗蜜多故，得阿耨多罗三菩提，故知般若波罗蜜多是大神咒，是大明咒，是无上咒，是无等等咒，能除一切苦，真实不虚，故说般若波罗蜜多咒，即说咒曰：般若揭谛，般若僧揭谛，菩提萨愿消三藏诸烦恼，愿得智慧者明了，普愿在掌心下常行菩萨道。
哦呀，打耳朵吧。
So,
面对小说呢，归西也是真在
this is a verse of salutation from Dharamsala ornament for clear realization.
面对正主三德错觉三界天地，永得
Through
老
knowledge
超
of the
在
Shravakas seeking peace and led to true peace through the knowledge of the path. Those intending the benefit transmigrating beings fulfill the aims of the world, being perfectly endowed with the transition. The Munis or sages give to various teachings with all kinds of philosophies. I bow down to the mother of the Buddhas, together with the communities of hearers and bodhisattvas. And next is the verse of salutation, verses of salutation from Lama Karika by Master Nagarjuna. And then he's on this page, homage to Gautama, who moved by his compassion toward the sacred Dharma to rid us of all misconceived views. And so today, to those who have come from Taiwan, the bliss and wisdom association and others have also come together for many years now been coming, and there are other people from So to everyone gathered here, the Chinese from Taiwan and other places, as well as people from other countries, other regions and places who have gathered here, I greet you and welcome you all to this teaching. So many of you are familiar with my introduction to Buddhism, but there are many others who may be here for the first time. So when I do discuss of this kind of discourse, and of course, if you could get a good introduction to the teaching of the Buddha and then then develop that of the faith based on understanding it would be good. And therefore, I thought of doing some introductory teaching first. In the teaching of the Buddha, it is said not committing any non-virtues, cultivating a wealth of virtue, and thoroughly taming your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. So if you think broadly, all the religious traditions of the world teach not to harm others, but to have kind hearts. And in order to make transformation within one's mind, to tame the mind, there are those of the theistic religions which believe in Creator God, and the so from that point of view, there are differences in the religious tradition, whereas helping others, being altruistic and not harming others is same in all teachings. Now, in Buddhism, how do you control your mind? The Buddha says, the sages do not wash away sins of sentient beings, nor do they remove their suffering with their hands, nor do they transfer their own realization into others, but by teaching the reality of things how they are, they lead beings to liberation. So the suffering which are the causes of suffering, which are those of the afflictive mental afflictions, destructive emotions, and so forth, as well as those of the negative karmas, and they are not washed away by the Buddha. But they nor do the Buddhas give like a kind of a grace or blessing to us by removing our suffering, nor do they give us their own realization, transferring them to us, but by showing the reality of how things are, they help beings to liberation.
派的主流宗教认为，我们要相信造物主的存在，透过对造物主的信仰来去调伏内心。可是，佛教在调伏内心上，尤其自净其意的这个解说上是不一样的。佛教形成了不同的解说，如同佛说罪莫难行，佛手无能取众苦，佛正无能转他人，唯是法力得解脱。佛陀说了，我们的痛苦
Sorry, the translation should be done alternately.
取出，或是帮我们解决或者解除、去除我们的痛苦，这是没有办法的。而且我们的苦因、烦恼、业和烦恼等，这也没有办法透过水来去洗涤的。佛陀的正量没有办法像转赠礼物般的转赠给我。如果真的可以做到的话，那多爽啊！你看佛陀做了324集结的苦行，我们什么都不用做，那佛陀就赐予他的正量给我们，那不是很好吗？所以这并非是佛教里面所说的为调伏自净其意的方式。那自净其意的佛教的不共特点是什么呢？唯是法谛得解脱，透过开示法谛真谛而获得解脱。
第去年3的，去年以及冬年讲的活干们都，在全能的引路，他去年被引路，现在被引路下去了吧？这大概的就是引路嘛，但呢，第一趟呢，什么人也碰到这个样的是吧？所以他在这里，现在的可能，他们呢，提家里呀，这劳动者还能经历过呢，从是，他的差这里，刚才3个么日吧，相当的，但这个他呢，大概是我说呢，叫我们成年人的用个要的，但这个他呢，他这个心主权呢，有的在呢，叫我去要吧。그래서 얘네 경험하는 들어오는 데는 치면 로겐스야 돼. 풍부되던 제등이기 얘네 로티지기 풍부되던 자리인데 얘네 많은 들어오는 데는 치면 로야 윈도우스. 근데 인도산에 풍부를 전시한데 다지 통만을 받는 여자가 싫어서 전에 어떤 무디고 슝기 다 도스네. 다 대지들이 가리야. 가다 있네 통모병에 마 여den에게 다지 풍물을 튼 시험을 시기요리 스타트인데 다지 아니 지금 봐 모두와 두와 뭐시와 시와 진짜 제약이 탑럼디 아니 신의 심지지고 신의 냐라 지금 시야는 너무 시야기 아니 주중 걸러봐 샤네 도베 추중을라와 데네 에네 심 미국을베 산이 대토야기 지집에 띵인지 데네 에네 딘리기다 지 추중을라고야다 띵인지 러고야고 아주 대역한 게 소주 지루저샤 딘리 내연의 차대 차고되기 애니 견식이었지. 차고되기 시장 장용구요래. 애니 차도 장용구요래. 애니 다른 식이 지 가서 탈로 전두르지야. 딘지기 전에 애니 뭐지 버치대야. 디용되기 도와. 딘지 인도다 대외 연장의 차고되기 용도수도 딘지 인도 대외 지 소조 지루지사 딘젤라다 차고디 조용하다니 그래서 대바디 라발때 아니 심 차로다니 심 참은 띵징기다 틀었다네 톱대하게 순금도 숨이 감사 지송구도가 자상가 어다 대바를 니미스 때 아니 감고마 10월 때 대바를 라고 감고마 10월 때네 시라가 나버지기 이니 상도고야 야래 자다지 좀 되대 뭐 좋고네 디디 여버리 다산지름데 코라에 타마에니 개별 코리아 슈슈드자네 다 지도 중국에서 도 페베크도리아 아니 개근나 지동에시 다가는 신그 접중들의 시니 아니 두 이미 계셔 아니 좀더 코라 kim에 저도 좀 아니 대지대도 용자여 되는 게 아니 주중을 나와 아니 땡긴생을 나와 싫어하는 나머지 상동을 나와 뒤뒤 냠시나 루주까지就是또 제 아니 공부 땡任공부시를 그도리야 아니 등시랑 다야게 다도 다와 되게 생기기 등진데 때도 주고도 뒤니 다와지 노샤스 봐 아니 대대로 뜻이랑 다요 말이지. 대네 다세디 풍부소발을 대네 다세디 다버리. 저다디 된지기니 이조니 이류되는 다 직사제. 된지기다 다디 조도 풍부선디디 왕교자. 다들 저도 무슨 왕 그렇게 다만 진짜경서 로시리기도 와 배는 나의 뉴스 나의 선 나의 나신 로리기도 와 저도 나의 뉴스야 나대 나의 선스야 나 다디 왕 그렇게도 무슨 가서 로시도 와 저장하다 진짜기 나서도 저도 풍부시한 왕 그렇게 풍부시한데 콜보도 다 진짜들이 낭세기 에네 저 천이 미투바 저데 칼보다 애니고 간다 왕시중 여러보다 저 나한테 풍부도 천이 미투베랑 자원지 버서디 군다바도 매버리 당 나한테 애니 저도 보다 돼야지 풍부도 천이 투베 애니 마랑 자원지 되는 되게다 뭔지는 생기지 여버리 당 좀 전에 이게 공부도 시에네 라 디지털도 공부시입니다. 가다 다음에 뵙다한테 뒤도 실사고 돌다게 다시 더 좀더 그런 것도 공부 주디야리. 그래서 아니 다가다 용자전만 송샤야 돼. 애는 뭐做상계니 상계만 달려야 거기서 어디 섭씨 저저에서 누마체 디지털 취시 코요니 술로든지 고면에베 매만 나게나도 내버려서 전에 송어리 전에 상식시자지가 전에야 전국 최송야 말이 봐 디미 고구마 말이 딱 가요 말 봐. 자 디디 전에 좀 된대기 야 제 대지대도 용자하게 땀도 밑에 붙이게 땀지 송고시구나 또 말을마다 미디어 연구제 권에 무슨 소리?
唯是法地得解脱的法地，不一定要解读为空性。在此的法地指的是尽所有性或独所有性的真实的一个真理。
So, with regards to what the quotation that His Holiness cited, with regard to the Chunyi or the Dharmata, the reality as it is, it could refer to the reality of the varieties of things as well as how they are. And the Buddha taught that, and through this teaching on searchness or reality as it is, the Buddha served the Buddha sentient beings, helped sentient beings. And during the time of the Buddha, historically at that time, or in India, there was already the teachings, different religious traditions which have the teachings of psychology, and related with this, they all also talk about they talk about their past life because of people having memory of past life. But when they talk about the past life, of course, this body that we're that they have does not go from this life to the next, or nor does a body from the past life to come to this life. But they still find that there is something that comes from the past life to this life, and therefore they began to call this the self, Atman, and therefore the different religious traditions which preceded Buddha believed in a separate self apart from the psychophysical aggregates. They asserted a self which is permanent, single, and autonomous. And now, with regards to taming the mind, they also have the teachings of morality, the ethical morality, and on the basis of which they have the practice of concentration. And then which is a single-pointed concentration, and on the basis of which they develop that of a wisdom. And with regards to the concentration practice, even before the Buddha in India, there was meditation practices whereby the practitioners see the desire realm, attachment and so forth, the desire realm itself and as a whole seen as that of a gross, and those of the concentration realms and the formless realms to be more subtle and peaceful. And therefore there were meditations pertaining to developing those subtler or the more peaceful states of mind in the form and formless realms, whereby the practitioners actually consider the desire realm, attachment and so forth as problematic. And whereas the peaceful states of mind of the form and formless realms to be more blissful and so forth. And therefore these meditation practices preceded the Buddha. And once the Buddha came, what happened was, he followed those practices of that were prevalent in India. And although the Buddha was born in a royal family, he renounced his kingdom, and by seeing those of the states of the life's condition of birth, aging, sickness, and death, and therefore that inspired him to go from the home to homelessness. And then when he was living as an ascetic, he practiced these meditations, the concentration practices, which were explained earlier. And although in the Buddha realized that there is no such a permanent, single, and autonomous self, yet that the self is designated. But what he also found and discovered was that if you believed in a permanent, single, and autonomous self, it actually reinforces one's innate clinging to independent self. And so what the Buddha taught was, although the things have, or the self, there is no permanent or independent self, but the self is designated, yet there was this belief in a permanent, single, and autonomous self. And then that he rejected. And then there is also this clinging to a self, which is seen as like a ruler or a master ruling over its subjects or the servants. So the master is seen like the self, the notion of a self is seen like a master ruling over his servants or subjects, and therefore the psychophysical aggregates are considered to be, there is this view of the psychophysical aggregates as the servants or the subjects, and the self as the master. And within this, there is this view that the self is has a different characteristic than those of the servants or the psychophysical aggregates. And there is also that the view whereby the self has is seen as having the same kind of a characteristic as that of the servants as well. And so the Buddha, after becoming enlightened, was not able to teach this kind of deeper selflessness, and therefore he began by saying this profound, peaceful, free from conceptual elaborations and luminous and so forth.
진짜 인도 지기한테 깨외 왕게 총알했다. 뒤에서 메다고 와서 손샷다 때리고 깨지게 지금 줘야 돼. 다들 천리를 타는 샤베이네. 다 두쟁이 변은 내가야도 천리를 그게 전도들 들은 걸 전용. 그도 70대는 거기 애좀 가는 레인도 있잖아요. 지금 여기서 신수했고 도스 여den의 시도가. 그래서 그 깨지도 좀 저den의 시 세워 셔도가. 저한테 인도산에 차에다가도 송구야래. 차에다가도 송두산에 계지 규유왕기 지구에 더니도 주바레스. 그다 지구 친구가 줄로만 또 계획 독화해 지구에 더니도 주바레스. 송도가. 뒤 가르 고도스러나. 아니 뒤지게 최 규유왕기 계버지 인시절라 규유 상황자리도가. 하나 자, 들이 인도산에 상황 교원님이 같이 송교를 나간다. 뒤 상황제. 들이 인도다 도든지 풍부디장이야. 메다와디 깨지게 지배더니 깨지게 지도야디 뒤 상황제레스. 뒤도 가르스로나 라인이 들어가다. 죄송합니다. 세상 타르도는 녀목의 상황제 차도가 풍부지. 녀목의 상황제 차대도 다 잠시 쉬어지도가. 그 유목왕 그 주쟁의 그 류지차 때도 아니 뭐는 직성 나로 따지 차야 디 매버서야 탑시지 매는 다를 시작합니다. 그러다 디 매버서야 탑시지 예배 이나 다 유목배 왕기 주에 풍부디다 매버서 먹어지다 제토나 삼바지 로라 리그러다. 그러다 미다 한다 미다 동에스 다 드르토나 마도 상당히 다 동 사텔이야 아니 되게 권도시는 신기 제 모티브는 되는 신 풍불의 전신에 떡지랑 다게 동 다디 다 라라버시다 그래서 아니 간다 풍부기시 지중에 레다 대래야 있는 된적이다 다지 용거 말이 신파 놓쳐야지 또가 그러나 역시 부모거라 집에 더니 뭐 인도산에 대래되는 딱과 다디에 집에 더니 인고를 했잖아요. 샤연도 메다 동에 동 대전되니 다디기 롱 제시처리디 다음에 와서 loksamdana 다요 소스도가 자상가 다 동에 담바 신송소 동에 시에버차 소즈네 다 시야게 동에 달라 동에 두두순제게 시야 직체 뉴에 동에 상제가 소화되어 뒤에 두두순제 롱제절 되거라 톱절 되거라 미 패버즈에 또 담송 지금 상부지다 전득이요 뒤에 뉴에 동에로 보다 동에도 시기면 도와 사정된 내가 동에 시에버차 사지 소야디 동에 시와 개면 동아서 상으로 든주이네 동에 면디별 로용도 와서 라베이나 디 마레스 동에로 숨이야레스 동에지 동에 규에 동에 다네 치슈디 두지기 동에 사데레 두지 동에 라고네 동에도 숨어인 소야다 남지기 책디레샤 사데레 이두산에다 대대보다 동네의 남샤디에 지바 시에체 다디교 근중제 규이 상황제 용어배 상황제 이뭐 인도산에 다 겨와 동네도 잡아르샤 다 겨와디 라모고 여다메 다 자주셔로 다들 고베다 봐서가 내용이야래 내가 시버 고베다 봐서야 다 동네 봉알라 동네 규 봉고요리 다 동네 규디 아니 가르제 다 규 군중 아니 말해 가자다 규제 아니 군중 아니 가 계속들이 다드샤 전에 왔다 일이 뭔가 뭐 근두기 아니 송야셔래 이어메베게 미다베게 누베 젠 숨숨야지 디다 조자리에나 교근조랍지 젠시스 교근조랍지 젠시 고따다 로데는 소리도 아니 젠디 세레니르마 자리에나 그러다 가다지 딱배 규제의 말이스 요메베 젠스 군족이 로이 요원은 저에서는 중앙에 말이스 요메베 젠 아니 규진코라 규회선 시치고 그랬어 가서는 제우는 조주여베 인도산에 제부 디케지 규코에 규회선 시치고 그러마도 딱배 규례 계속 말이스 자 메다베게 메다고 삼게 드리어 말에 그 제우 디지지 자노머지나 대대 시스템에 주시고요 아래 제부 동에는 그 대대 시스템에다 주시고요 아래 진짜 이번 인도산에 뉴베젠스 제부 넘버 컨트리가 티 기겐기 그 누가 여den이 지금 간에 다 주고리 뉴베젠스에 빼야고도 와 요메베젠 메다베젠 뉴베젠 어두숨도 세다디 어떻게 저들이 인도 다 머리부서야 다 자주시고요 아래 근데 나 주니송도가 좀 전에 코란 것이 되다 샤당르다 긴두고 줄라칸게 아니 나리아 entities 시보콜로 창가봤어야 되지 됐지 좀 전에 코란 게다 가거나 샤바시리 뇌 쇼데요 아래 저들이 인도 다 정말 머리고 두지 아니 남시 민수 기지라고 소 엔트네 세벌레바 아니 겨와 것이시니 때려라 주니티 송도가 다 때려라 주니기 아니 야랑가망가메 치무치무기야기 주시에 저상가 야랑가망가마 망가나 치무치무디 고 세트야 매베체 다 것이 동에 디 마용알라 아니 레니지 겨와진 가고 그랬어 레니 겨왕 가와라 셀렌 가고 그래 어디도 시베전된 가고 그래도 세네 루도야 상단에 달도 있는데 머리부 도가야지 송도가 저들이 인도산에 아니 머리부 써야 돼 근지지 다지 세주지야 빼게 좀 잡으래
So after Buddha became enlightened, and before giving any teachings, he remained in the forest in silence, saying that this profound, peaceful, free from conceptual elaborations, luminous and uncompounded phenomena, this nectar-like truth I have found. Even if I were to teach to others, no one will understand it, so I shall remain in silence in the forest. And so the Buddha remained in silence for some time, and then when the 5 human disciples, such as Godinaya and so forth, came to actually witness the Buddha's magnificence, they actually saw that there was something special about the Buddha, that he had developed some special qualities within himself, and therefore they requested the Buddha to give teachings. And therefore the Buddha turned the first wheel of Dharma, the first sermon, in the Rishi Patanya in Varanasi, and he gave the teaching on the Four Noble Truths. And when he gave this teaching on the Four Noble Truths, he first gave the identity or the nature of the Four Noble Truths, saying this is the true suffering, this is the true origin of suffering, this is the true cessation of suffering, and this is the true path. And then went on to mention the functionality of these 4 truths, saying that the suffering must be known, that the origin of suffering must be overcome, that the cessation must be actualized, and then the path must be cultivated. And then he went on to teach the Four Noble Truths from the point of view of its results that are brought about by saying the suffering should be known, but it's nothing to be known. And similarly, it is the case with those of the origin cessation should be overcome, but there's nothing to be overcome. And then the cessation, true cessation, must be attained, but there's nothing to be attained. And then there's the true path must be cultivated, but there's nothing to be cultivated. And so in this Four Noble Truths teaching, he mentioned that of the four characteristics each of the Four Noble Truths. The first four characteristics are those of the Noble Truth of suffering, true suffering, which are impermanence, suffering, emptiness, and then selflessness. And then therefore, with regards to the teaching of the Four Noble Truths, together with the four characteristics, the 16 characteristics in all, and also the 37 factors of enlightenment. These are the teachings which are the foundational teachings that are found in the Pali tradition. These teachings are shared between Pali and the Sanskrit traditions, and these teachings serve as the foundation of the Sanskrit tradition as well. And so with regard to the impermanent nature of suffering, we need to give thought to it, because the life, as we see it, is impermanent. And usually when we talk about impermanence in terms of the life, we talk about death, but death as impermanence of life is actually a gross understanding of the impermanence. And but when you understand that this life is impermanent, that it's transient, and what it can help is to see that there's no meaning in this kind of samsaric life. When the Buddha said this life is impermanent and suffering and so forth, he refers to the subtle impermanence. For example, when we come to talk about subtle impermanence, we say that according to the Vaibhashika school, they say things arise and come into being, and then there's a period of abidance, and then decay, and then finally going out of existence or destruction. And whereas these Sotantikas and so forth, the higher schools of philosophy, for them, this is not something that comes to being automatically is subject to disintegration. There's no such thing as abiding and then decaying, and apart from that of the destruction as soon as something comes into being. And so if you look in our own life, we can see trees and plants grow in the beginning of the year, springtime, and then there is flowers and so forth, and fruits and so forth, and then when the autumn or the fall comes, then the leaves turn transform their colors, and finally they're shed from the trees, and then we see in the winter dry trees and so forth. So right from the beginning of the year, when the trees, the plants, start growing, at that very moment, from that very moment, the tree and plants are already subject to disintegration. And so we can understand that by looking at these kind of external examples of the plants, that life itself is impermanent right from the beginning. It's impermanent. The moment it comes into existence, it is subject to disintegration. And therefore the Buddha said all compounded phenomena are impermanent. And with regard to this impermanence, in terms of the subtle impermanence, moment by moment change in things, I've also seen atomic particles, not remaining static at all. When I looked through microscopes, the atomic particles, electrons, and so forth are always on the move. They're not static at all. And so things that come into being are subject to change and disintegration. And this is called the subtle impermanence. And therefore, when you understand that something that comes into being is subject to disintegration, I mean, you should also understand that that disintegration is brought about by its cause. And so since the cause itself has no permanence, that it changes, therefore the effect or the result also changes. And therefore the change in the result is due to the change that of its cause. And when you apply this understanding of the impermanence, the change, to our psychophysical aggregates, which are the contaminated, the suffering nature, in the suffering nature, what this suffering nature of the aggregates is brought about by its cause. This kind of psychophysical aggregate that we have are in the nature of suffering, and it is brought about by its cause. And when you look at the cause are those of the karma and our mental afflictions. And so, right, as soon as we hear mental afflictions or destructive emotions and so forth, I mean, we actually understand that this is not something good at all. And therefore, what we need to understand is whether there is a way out of this kind of mental affliction or not, and karmas or not. And if there is nothing to be done about them, then of course we cannot do anything. If they cannot be overcome, we cannot do anything. But then, if they can be overcome, the suffering, the causes of suffering, those of the karma and mental afflictions can be overcome, then we need to see how to overcome them. And therefore, these are those of the, I mean, with regard to the characteristics or the aspects of suffering, which are impermanent and suffering. When you see that the very person or being is also designated on the basis of its psychophysical aggregates, you will also see what the non-Buddhist traditions actually assert, that there being a permanent self, a permanent single autonomous self has no ground or basis. And therefore, their understanding of course, that kind of understanding of selflessness is a gross understanding of selflessness.
아니 차당은 요모고 끼대야지. 저 차당은 요모디에 되기 다 아니 레사체도 로데기 요지. 사다들이 이두산에 다 되게 고도셔야들이 녀로 딱도 따와 사다디 세고요래. 디컨지래. 다 저는 되게다 너희 롱지래. 너 거리 무신기래. 다시 저 되게 있었어야지. 너 거래. 가. 저게 거기서 나리 너를 주문 날이야 하래. 콩 거리면도 송문도. 전에 와다 다시 저 되게 있음. 전에 따와를 주고 인지. 도지 된지가 다셔야지. 여러분들은 아니 주대 도지 풍부 뒤동데스 달았다니 여마인스 딱송도와 다스 나나나 신시대지 다그 지금 창상 영향을 싸워졌다 대토 연구열이 전 나를 저 뒤있을 때는 나를 교인스 아니 왜 싫은 용어쟁이 그 참말로 되는 제 연구열이 때는 또 그게 맞다 버리스 나오나 된저게 다서야지 이네 딱든잖아 but 타니 나 동력이 다 하기 주고 맞다 딱고 다서를 가야를 봐도 세베이나 소지 풍부 다르베 두시 풍부 다르베 남시 풍부 다르베 설로나 야요 어떤 남시 풍부 가라 딱고 제 낭배 좀더 말에 나리네 다 타니도 랑제 시간도 되겠다 가다 쳐 가다 가이네 타년 육수지기 된지 때문에지 여고리 상바지 시샤시 연도 아니 다스야디 아니 이루 때문에 샤니 아니 이루 상매고 뭐를 심에 그도래 근데 다디 샤카오 차이는데 군시사지기다 심심해 진짜 셔다 죄송아 로그전다가 심심해 군시남시 셔기야래 오토르다데 아니 런주베이네 sen시 이게 남시 있어도와 다그 sen시 이 남시 감시도와 제 도스래 다안던 너디 공부 지시부 정해디 텐주를 차대야래 근데 저 강의 강인에 민국왕의 여성심마도 텐주왕의 여부 때는 여말 순수자네 두지 풍부 뒤동데 틀었다는 여만 있어 소야데 따다 주고 보다 봐 어디송래 자 다도 다와되기다 타지 다도 다와되다 게 당안도 두스테위네 싱그리 녀모견은 원래 직설로 달래줘 올로에 통주징스 다는 뒤에도 또전에 저봐야 다는 거버 체스네 송구도가 저들이 인도자네 다도 다와데 두두수지를 요리 하다 간다 상물로에는 낭낭낭 세줄로야 샤데도 당나데 나오냐면로 되게 미국 나지 다 나도 뭔구지기 그게 링링 유도실 올시거리 그시도지야 어디 자만 체베거도리야 아자라치도 배봐 아니 말씀 좀 추우시야 근데 지금 거네 저거 점이 아니 랑씀 좀 추우디거랑 나서디 좀 추우디거리 나까 봐도 쓰레 도와줄 도상하지 이게 좀 되지 도와줄 일은 나한테 고고래도 출시도 쓰레 고고랬어 제가 어디를 사지리 이두산에 딱하다 나선 줄로 직사돼 따고 자주다니 꼭 봐도 가 자주다들이 류지 지수네 긍디보도 거기서 섬타나 전면도 가 그다 애니 시바다디 류지 숙제 인도산에 초지 차야래 야라가 차샤 소소 차야래 다 similar 숙제 민도산에 초지 차치야 민도가 민도디 그 넘버 10 시규 사고를 경기기 처리 규의 규 단다 지구지구 주요래 저들이 인도산에 10의 규사디 그 깨진거지도 뭐 튀는 도생이지 들이 인도산에 깨진거지 차도가 다 깨진거지 차도서 세르산에 아니 다사와서지 하람 니야요 말에 자상아 시베간에 이니 나서지고 균도 차셔봐 세리나 양디 니서야 가고도 자상아 나서야데 류기 차셔 강네 나이 생시샤하면도 이 류간에 도서 차셔시바 있는 다다와선 그런 이하면도 진짜 인도 나서야데 아니 지금 나만의 들어오는 치문도 사주도 또 마대지 저도가 이 류간에 상담이네 다들이 인도산에 아니 다디니 어디들이 이루자네 다음에 따와서 들이 다음에 따와 다 들이야 다 가도 오문주부 겁니다 소야 오문주부 자시르기 던지리 진리 이루자네 다 자시르기다 가다이니 다세야디 애니 풍불로 때네 딱 섭실해서 노란게 송여래 다 견에 매바이네 애니 컨트레스로디 시들이야나 소라는 때네 신도 접어다 대신 풍분 남 때네 구조심지 접어인스 군조범 타녀도 타녀 지등게 타녀도 애니 다 세야디 애니 풍불로 때네 딱 섭실해서 다 독송도와 다 풍불로 때네 딱 섭 이버다 뒤는 자시로 나로 쉬우세요래 우메숑지나 세요 쉬우요래 간다 타생각을 리뷰도 세윤잖아 엔다 나세야 내 처음에 땅에랑 나세야디 닥쳐지 디그 지금 링니샤야기 그 지금 가서 쿵지루고 배나 맞제도 맞제요스 데 등에 류리스 그 제거보다 등에 류리 내심리스 자상가 나의 류도 섬시는 데베 톡리샤야 되바 배 시부지기 용유야 되바 든지기 인도산에 아니 대다도 송내게 다시도 열에 있다 시그러 봐 사실은 이르잖아요. 다 덕시 풍부 다 모니기 뚫기면 잡아줘야 돼. 쉬우지 가시 버리셔. 근데 이르잖아요. 다 최지 당생기 강사가 당생기 시식을 해서 당도 우메 룩시사지 शे고다. 배서 버리셔야 돼. 쉬우지 버리. 자, 근데 인도 단 두지기 풍부대에 그러다 지대양은 손을 떼는 시도 줘봤다스 지대양은 초월에 신득덕이 열었어 차셔를 떼는 딱섬지를 모두 신득서야 그 신대 콜로 신대에 아니 입도 가도 신대 주 디드파 세레 제라 신대니야 요 말이지 저는 덕시코라 따두자는 니야면 또 이루코에 되게 뢰들이 류의 이 니자로도 따두자나 니야면 차이도 전에 달라잖아 따가 다다 아니 니주메 봐 이루 짜베이나 니주메 봐다 타추리 다 디상등도 다 드리게 토네 아니 가다 동네에 자 아니 레다 뇽뇽 자 띠무 디 차인 거 요래 다도 좀버지 쳐가 요래 다도 좀버지 도 스자가 쳐인 전에 친지로 걸로 이버지 다시 세워서도 그 친지로 걸로 이버 럭시 인더지 다 지들라 다시다 탄예도에 장선 세기 미시베 우마벨로도 쉬우지 서부르샤 봐 탄예도 장선이 파바이나 그 가르치네 그 벽에 댄징기 라고 주소를 집게 요래다 봐 어다 탄예도에 장제 미시바 민장 다유장 전 송윤도 전에 봐 아니 댄징 벽에 라고 주소로 잡진 주소로 켜내면 쳐도 그래서 쉬우진 거 쳐버려 자송 탄예도에 장제 캐멜레하게 우메 따와지 뼈모습에 서부다 디페션을 서부지 송샤사 계시면 쳐 소소 삼동다 로네 로트는 삼동나 뭐는 전에 sem나로래 댄진을 그 잡진 줘서 쳐내면 되지 그 라고 쳐내면 되지 차용도 빼게셔보다 지서 도시에는 지시 풍불지여 디시텔라 난지여 고불루 타제도 지시 풍불지여 디시텔라 난지여나 양래테 레레장의 개와 인생 우모르지 차나 송도 우메 따와시르잖아요. 당한저 기겐 처음 좀 전에도 인디 좀 전에도 인디 얘네 당한저 크도데 망서 라자 당에 기겐데 고불루 주세 롱수부사 뭐는 전에 롱수부사 시도다 지금 뭐냐 전에 상고야고 스tam바이나 우모르지 소디드마 지때 또 상담바이나 라메바 테베불로야르샤 자셔버려 삼아서 말이야. 콩그 숭셔버지지 모두 상담나 카유를 하여기 당 모두 세고 쉬우지도 봐. 어디지? 세상 어디 도스네. 다 딘디인도 머리고 써야지. 리아 최기 당진다 강사가 당진 다 시베 자칭에기 디 강사가 당진에 모두 최기 당진 말이 순간지 야래. 당 간다 탄예도에 장세 세기 미시베다 우메 룩션 소용도 다 어떤 간다 최기단지기 가사가 단지하게 시체인 거요. 지지 풍부지 요사들이 디리 인도산에 다 도우선다 상당연도 풍부 민자 다유 상심마도 자원의 매제버시기 이루고야 다도자는 천년이야 매제버시기 차용와 인도산에 다 이네 다도 다왔디 라 균제 매쟁에 다 매매 다왔디 균제 여대봐 그제 균제 여배디 그제 제배 저기 내가 지지 제시를 줘야 균제 매쟁에 다도 다왔잖아 건배왕게 다도 다와 숙셔부지 댄지 숙셔부지 연구하려 마도 그 땅전잖아 그게 누구서 매대버지 터루도가 사들이 인도 얘네 군중구사와 띠무 댄진사티 텔라 진당 개외 아니 간다 아니 다음에 뵀다와 개하여 되게 다음에 따왔더니 덴진을 진단 개거네 무슨 얘기도 하지 디도는 더 콜로 탐에 거둘라 아니 심정신지에서 송샤 줄라메 겁내 송샤부터 되더마 제윤도 아니 심정이 묘몬디 봉투바 사마줄로라 샤야도 대윤도 전에 아니 곡바 상 곡된세야지 용시버샤스 곡된세야 토토야지레샤스 봐 아니 곡된세야지 니부 제베도기 방저 데스 줄이야 무엇에 니부 체니 디방베 체외연데 디리실도 곡된세요래 곡된 리메 통파방면 곡된에 소지금 곡된 철 배고데 서도 되게요래 사실은 이들은 다 가다가 좀 타로서야 돼 고대래. 저도 전에 더 드르르니 고대 배주 톱토야 도 삼바실로 샤윤데 다 고대 연대 가야래서. 배나 뉴모 방법 장기 자와 장기 시가 말고 시와 라르 김미롱아 라르 김미롱도 세상 단도 시워지.是吧? 심 주용의 고다 디자고 매바 차윤데 원에 시디요라도 곡곡바 시와 된지 시와디 재정 그저 말에 공원은 전에게 bes성이야 다더보도 나는 줄 장완생에게 요문데 싸워내 봐다 배 가서 우리 배 중국으로 되니 즉 통윤데 그 심리야 너무나 지금 다더보도 동네 장에디 다 있는 그 심리지레샤 사바지 로로 샤윤데 잖은 버쳐도 고고 쉬워 잖은 다 된지 렌지 에네 방저 문주 매대베게 말이고 때도 방법 인도잖아요 내버린 좋았어 고고 쉬워 잖은 민중스 또가 다도 상당히 탄고된지 통나 사바지 로리아 셔도가 셔송아 단딩 고된 통나 사바지 로리 샤인도 타바되니 이걸로 내용이야래 셔송아 어두스리 엔 다든지 고된 토비하게 람디 엔 람데지 엔 람지버 주번 인지스잖니 어다 디 가서 고된 건도 지하게 다 탑상 람 엔디 그 직사디 니용게 레샤가 이네 간다 배가 나라라 직하지 내로 직버사게 리볼로이 생이사가 리버팅이 리카직스가 지용기 야 리카사 직사지 용기 리카사 직럼네 고 리버드 대봐 샤쇼그로 봐 야 리카직스로이네 고된 리버치기 나면 내 자이케 모카시기 지에 이름이 좀 누스다다데 말다 제디 어디 디디 이르잖아요 가서 한다고 지칭한다 람르바 다디 차직 통성의 용기요 말에 차직 리버성의 용기요 말에 그 윤신의 주보레스 람르바 주보 된지기가 무튼 주연도 타 방샤바디 그 방샤베 단도 봉행지 인도잖아요 니진스 숙성부도 가 디리 어디 좀 되게电视 중고도 수물이
因此，认知无明是相当重要的。如果无明没有办法去除的话，以无明为基础的情况。
So, what is important for us is to recognize or identify the very root of suffering, which is ignorance, and so. Unless you're able to overcome and get rid of ignorance, this fundamental ignorance, which is totally distorted with regard to reality, is the cause of our other mental afflictions, such as attachment, lust, or hatred, and anger, and so forth, and which in turn gives rise to that of karma. And through karma, what happens is we take rebirth, and there is suffering. And so it is important to understand what this grasping or the view of a self is, and therefore the Buddha has said this notion of an I or a self is a devilish mind. And this is the cause or the root of all other distorted views. And whereas this whole psychophysical aggregate is empty of any independent existence, and therefore there's no self. And so we need to understand that this grasping or clinging to an independent self is the root of our mental afflictions of attachment, hatred, and so forth. And also other afflicted intelligences are based on this view. And so when we think about an I or an independent self, I mean, what we can see is that this, when we look at the body, of course, the body and other aggregates such as the consciousness, perception, or mental formations, feelings, I mean, they are not the self at all. And so when you look at this, when you search for the self, which we cling on to as being some kind of independent entity, within the aggregates or amongst the aggregates, you don't really find anything that you can pinpoint as being the self, not the body, not the mind or consciousness. Whereas within the Buddhist philosophical system, there are those Madhyamaka systems and others who assert some kind of objective existence in things and the psychophysical aggregates, and therefore, for them, there must be a self which is called a person or a being which is from amongst the findable from amongst the aggregates, and therefore the Chittamatras, for example, assert that there is alaya vijnana, which is the foundational consciousness, as being the identity, the final identity of a person and or a being. And the Savatantrika Madhyamakas say that the sixth mental consciousness is the identity of the person, whereas for the Prasangikas, who actually interpret the meaning of the sutras correctly and thoroughly, for them, nothing whatever of the five psychophysical aggregates can be identified as being the person as such, and therefore and so for the Prasangika Madhyamakas, as Master Chandrakirti says in his Madhyamaka Avatara, all these different faults of our afflictions and so forth are because of our clinging to this self, some kind of independent self, and therefore the yogis must reject that kind of a self. And so when we talk about self, I recently met a Tibetan lady who was fully, very disturbed in her mind. She told me that her mind is all disturbed and there's no peace. And then I asked her, "Where is that I that you are talking about?" And she pointed to, somewhere at her on her chest. And she said, and when she pointed there, I said, "Is it a round or is it square or what?" And she said, "It's actually a round." And so, but then when you actually look or search for the self from your head to the toes, there's nothing that you can find as being the self, yourself as such, and nothing whatever. And within the body, and other aggregates can be found as being the self, not even the consciousness itself. Of course, when we talk about the body seems to have some kind of a spatial kind of extension, and therefore it is something tangible, and therefore we also feel that there must be something that actually rules over these psychophysical aggregates, the body and so forth. Whereas when you look at the mind is really transcendent. It changes from moment to moment, and although it has no special extension, still we can talk about it having some kind of a continuity from one moment to the next and so forth. And therefore we might think that there must be something within the consciousness itself as it continues from one moment to the next. There must be something that actually endures within that continuity. But then it would become very inconvenient if we were to posit anything from within the mind itself or consciousness itself as being the self, whether the present or the past or the future. And therefore what we have to understand is this sutra says, the same sutra that I quoted earlier says, just as a carriage is designated on the basis of its collection of its parts, likewise a person is designated on the basis of his or her psychophysical aggregates, and therefore there is a conventional person. And so for the Prasangika Madhyamakas who reject any kind of objective existence in things, they can say that things or self is merely designated on the basis of our psychophysical aggregates, just like the chariot. And of course, when we look at our body, it feels very tangible, and we can feel the sensations and so forth. There's something that we can feel and so forth. Therefore, we may think that there must be something that possesses or that owns this body and the mind and so forth, and therefore there must be a self independent, which is separate from these psychophysical aggregates. But there is nothing like that at all, and therefore what happens is the suffering that we experience is, of course, comes from that of karma, and karma is rooted finally in our fundamental ignorance, which is totally distorted with regard to the reality of things. And so Master Nagarjuna's tradition, and so it's important to really give thought to this, that there is to this understanding of a selflessness, which is found thoroughly explained in Master Nagarjuna's system of Madhyamaka philosophy. And the experience of a selflessness, can be gained if you put effort, year after year. So it takes, of course, many years to really gain true insight into it, and it's important for us to get rid of this true grasping at some kind of a true independent existence of self and psychophysical aggregates and so forth. And therefore, with regard to the process of doing that, Master Nagarjuna says, as long as there is clinging to the psychophysical aggregates, to that extent there is clinging to a self, and therefore from there the karma ensues, and from there comes that of birth. And therefore, one must not just leave it to these kind of quotations, but we need really to see that understand the meaning of these teachings well through by giving thought to these teachings. And therefore, we need to really see these teachings of Master Nagarjuna and so forth. And when you read the books written by Master Nagarjuna and so forth, you'll see how he has actually thoroughly explained that there is no such an independent self that we cling on to, and that it is the root of all the suffering and so forth, and that this is a totally distorted view. Therefore, it can be overcome by our by understanding selflessness. And so when you do that, then these teachings make sense to you, and you find Master Nagarjuna to be a great being himself, who has taught from his own experience using reasoning and so forth. And so in the Madhyamaka tradition, it is said that there's clinging to or grasping at the self of a person is based on the grasping at the self of phenomena, the psychophysical aggregates. But since the psychophysical aggregates themselves are merely designated, merely nominal, and therefore there is nothing which we can call an independent self as such, not even that of the consciousness or called aggregate. And therefore you have to see that the view of self, or viewing that there is an independent self, has no reason. There's no ground to hold on to it, and that the selflessness has all reasons to hold on to, and therefore it can, with that understanding, you'll be able to go against this grasping at a true independent existence, because selflessness view, or the understanding of selflessness, is diametrically opposed to that view. And on top of that, then, when you also understand that the defilements in our mind are not in the intrinsic nature of the mind, but because the mind is a nature of the very nature of the mind is luminous or clear light, therefore there is possibility for obtaining or attaining that of true cessation. And therefore the true cessation is that state within your mind or experience whereby you have overcome the defilements within your mind, from the defilements which are overcome through the path of seeing through to the end of the path of meditation, culminating in that of the omniscient state of a Buddha. And so all these are called also once you overcome these defilements completely from your mind, that is the state of liberation. And so liberation is something that is that is attained through the process of purifying one's defilements. And therefore, with regard to the four characteristics of the true cessation, it is that of there are cessation because you have overcome or ceased a certain amount of even if it may be certain amount of the defilements from your mind, through to that of overcoming all defilements, and then it is peaceful, because once you have attained it, there's it's really true peace, lasting, and then it is also excellent, because then you have overcome all that has given you suffering, that has given you suffering so far, and it is that of definite called emergence, because once you have overcome all the defilements, they will no more come back to you. And then there is the true the attainment of true the cultivation of path. So once you understand the truth, that the possibility of there is this possibility of true cessation, you will have this aspiration to actually attain it. And then the method to attain it is through the path, the true path, which has also the four characteristics or aspects, which are the path, because it is that means by which you attain true cessation, and that it is awareness. On the one hand, it is awareness of the truth of things, or it is that of the reasoning. So there are two different words or spellings of this aspect. One is rigpa, without the there are two different words in Tibetan. One is awareness and the other is reason. And then because of the third aspect is that of the practice, or because these attainments come through enduring in your practice for a long time, and then the final aspect is that of the means of definite emergence.
Digi rimba shahagi goba gyunzenda ngazo rangi nyamnyong to ne geya gi rimba ina de kewa yorbes
dan tagi shadare kansa ga dami 既亲不起，到有的没啥的。可他碰规定了上当过，开什么的话，今年啥子的，俺的娘娘的穷，还是到老习主，后来我就讲了谁，我们讲过来是个，就是新个不，我们讲过来是个，啊，他过的，你康萨啥的，你碰不超过马的是，你碰不差到吃起来相对样康萨要马的是，像地属的康萨些吧呢，到外大把上面啥个，这个同志在呢。还是我康萨个大面大面说凶，超凶凶什么凶？这上到底康萨个大面，但那个到康萨大面，到大面差不多了，大面差不多不一呢？没这样的康萨个单独大面都上不下呀个军人的长些，碰手个定了加油呢，东上个那下过来的对面就小门头。是地马下呀，这个呢，是我的三十穷，但是我觉得，刚上人家特别再一动完大面吧，等着就落了下了马道，刚上人心一动完的落了下面头上面，你要严肃。但等着每个呢，做特别需要弄的人，我们录入的，其实碰过的人有吧，提出来我是有是，啊，都碰过电子有吧，碰过电子的声音，虽然没穷吧，虽然穷呀，跟那个马头吧都。刚才个当时差不多的些有顺序图马的是才有啥多啊？晓得多些呢？可能我错的可能。我这知道，这个常识。加上个，今儿不去个，的杭州西州那里呢，人家康萨大面当了跑，真的去大面的结束过多啊，至少。康萨个大面，我那承认个不给打，不东尼长木营的个康萨大面到有的没事的，去大面当这个还是差不多啊。这是第一的，他人上大面着，是我第二，但是落了建议就在那样了，都是碰手落了下那些团队的也不是落了呀，下了用不要了吧。是，但是他也都让在有的没事的，并没什么改进么的，是的，他也都这个让人写个字，落了那么大都主要的是，可是，可能团结落那边了那样个下边没有那个土没有丢路就我那主要是穷了，但是，搞成人生的速度啊。前年，当什么的团结我们也不去，但当什么的搞成了些咁多啊？但他也都让人迷信的，他人肉这啥不啥的？我说了呀，我忙经常做带引的啥呢？康萨个他也假设，俺的地下是经常做第二个他也假设，点没心他也假设的，碰不这个，他说的有的呢，有的是我落了下一步的。他这消化道都有的没，消化道都有不行呢，三入有吧，是吧？但是三入不多啊，马他马起来俺呢，俺才小药了，点没拍吧，就是那个的没得吞住身都小药的，没得吞住身的落台这个我到当我是落了闹那些个团队的主要呢。哪怕在那三入了，我们日记台湾那里有个那些人，这个没就开的出现那是，他年什么呢？个三入过日是，是吧？我的第二些现在我让做了呀，都是碰手的，人们呢也是老难用不多啊，台了真的大概大的，人们呢也是难用不多啊。我在地，真正印度团结的，我让是少数身边了，怕怪娘下一些马多呗，老长毛老吹些吧这是，但那也别老去，个顶住那往下印度，个吹些吧是这个多。我那参加买不了什么，参加买的是，参加就他也都查过团队了，他也被参加些没那个，顶着这个顶呢，他做顶着这个顶呢，他。他也都住在我这，但他也都买不着是的，要吃我这，都是呢， Any Tanya to be doing so much the maneuver the Rigi, then and that law. Casore, turn to the Milu, the Gustonish Shaya Mado, now that the Druid, then the Medusa Sudua. She was in the Vichaburisha. Just one. What did it read? Jazanga, the Rindu, the Uma Tarang, the Gaje, Joe Gajan Guns and the Chara Yudu, the some ships hold down near the Pejana. Then it's also similar to Cha. Those in Tujung Shirugi touch your mari. Tujung Shirugi call Jevine, tell ya Papa Gidget any Pejana Sungisa, she Sungish says mother share your mother. That Tujung Shiru de Gala, and it's also sound down. But on Gachashana, Church regime of Josagi, and then Tao Mingda in it, Yamachugan turn you. That Tujung Shiru some say. Then a Galela, and it the Tao sometime, and it helped Jal so let's have any grow some tamper. The Turkish session in that is something got it. That those and some dying do any Samjung Shiru game to her. Sambe, young Sambe Gone, when it win. The Kasur the touch of a lolly shati, she would do. Dear, Ribetu, you think she can't live with or Ribet Jenny, shiver. Melam give me shiver Marta. Let me talk of the shiver Marta. Chabacheni. It's the Samjung Shiru Seri. That then ring a Samjung Shiru with some thing never told a day, Yan and Yando, Nindar is Tabel Machashana, Nimmerly Tony Tower Pages are Sunjushu, Pages something got it. Para is a lot. Quando ni ya said they could lay on the Pumbu Lashim, telephone me, Terteme, Daja Chow, Pundem, Daja Conscience. Now some of the train do la, sometimes take. So the Rigatone, Yan to Jishin, Comper Cheve, Tule, any things you taught us if a Gunjuda Tobi Marade, in a color Kanzangi, Gunjungi, Yamyoro, color Kanza, Yonditua. So the Induco, tell some Gomso Shiru, the Ribe, those Tiawachi. Cesar today, that they could chase down you, Pungso thing was Jenny. Pungso thing, any Gajan you the Moshe taller. The now that the Juba dynamic, something touch of a shundu, tell it in the dark where the other touching me something or labor.
The question for His Holiness is in Mathematics of Tara Garga, selflessness of a person has been taught earlier, later, and the selflessness of phenomena has been taught later. But according to His Holiness' experiential teachings, His Holiness has confirmed that several, like around 30-40 years back, he had a good understanding of selflessness, and then later, His Holiness also explains that he has now properly understood the selflessness of phenomena properly. So, don't you see any contradiction in the presentation in the Madhyamaka Avatara Kariga and your experiential realization? Because if the selflessness of phenomena has been taught earlier, then shouldn't one understand the selflessness of phenomena earlier and selflessness of self later, or emptiness of self later? So now His Holiness responses. So I have understood the selflessness phenomena around 50 years before, and now to see whether that selflessness phenomena is or the emptiness of selflessness phenomena is the one as presented by Prasankika, or the grosser level of selflessness. So to determine this, we need to engage with the psychophysical element and see if you could, by directing the same logic on them, you could negate the object of negation with respect to them and understand the selflessness in the same respect without any contradiction mentally.
So if you could have that kind of clear understanding without any uneasiness, then probably you can say you have understood the selfless of phenomena as well. But in my experience, this was not the case. So it is important to engage in Tsongkhapa's presentation, explanation of Madhyamaka Karika, and then the text is illuminating the intent. So over there, when explaining selflessness, he explains in terms of 5 reasoning or 7 modes of reasoning, 5 as presented in Mulak Madhyamika, and 2 extra added by Chandrakirti. So if you think in these terms and then try to say the same logic when applied to the psychophysical element, make any sense to you or not, and if the same kind of grasping occurs, then that's probably because you have not really understood emptiness properly. So your understanding of selflessness in this respect would be termed as the grosser level of selflessness. So then you really need to engage with the same reason over and again, over and again. So in Precious Garland, Nagarjuna says, so long as there is a grasping at the psychophysical elements or heaps or aggregates, then the grasping itself natural occurs. So this is a very important statement. And Tsongkhapa also present in the 2 levels of Lamrim, the middling and the greater treatise of Lamrim. So in these 2 Lamrim texts, Tsongkhapa presents selflessness of person first and selflessness of phenomena later. But when you really engage in the practice of emptiness or in your analysis of emptiness, then you have to combine these 2 together and don't think of them separately. So, and then another important thing is when you analyze on emptiness, if somehow, if you're not able to negate some kind of self-characterized nature of the object or an inherent nature of the object, and somehow, if you still posit some inherent nature of phenomena, then that or self, then that means that you have not really understood emptiness properly, because delusions and grasping naturally arises if you think if object appears as inherently to you, and then you confirm their appearance as true. And now another thing is, it's also very important to understand the object of negation as presented by Prasangika Madhyamika and Sotantika Madhyamika, and then try to see the differences. According to Sotantika Madhyamika, they assert an intrinsic existence, because for them, objects without the intrinsic existence cannot exist at all. Whereas for the Prasangika, so long as any object has an intrinsic existence, they cannot really exist. But differentiating between the object of negations as presented by these 2 schools of Madhyamika is very important. Now it's also, when you contemplate on selflessness or emptiness, you have to look at your experiences and see whether objects really exist as they appear to you, and whether and then on further analysis, if somehow they have true existence from their own side, or what we call as a self-characterized nature, or the nature from the side of the object, then the more you look into them, the more clearer it would become. For example, in the Nagarjuna's Precious Garland, it says, if mirage is really, truly water, the nearer you get to it, the clearer would its being water be to you. But this is not the case. Now, in Prasangika, it says, according to Prasangika philosophy, it says that except the meditative equipoise of an arhat being, all the minds of ordinary or sentient beings are somehow mistaken minds. Not mistaken, sorry. deceptive minds. That means there's a deception because object naturally, to any kind of imputation that we have, object appears from their own side. So there is an appearance of intrinsic existence, and we have to confirm whether this intrinsic appearance really conform with reality or not. Now, after using Nagarjuna's reasoning or the sevenfold reasoning with respect to chariot and so forth, then if now you have to see, the contradiction, that arises is, if things do not have any intrinsic existence, then how do they exist? By what mode of existence, or by what mode of reasoning do we posit or postulate the existence of the phenomena? So for this, Nagarjuna and the Madhyamika text states that for things to exist, sorry, I haven't completed this. So they should be conventionally accepted, and there should be no contradiction from other conventions. So with this, then you are able to ascertain the existence of the object. Your Holiness, you said that autonomous self as distinct from the aggregate, grasping at such an autonomous self should be philosophically asserted. And whereas thinking of an autonomous self not necessarily need to be not necessarily need to be philosophically asserted, but could be inert. So I have actually explained this earlier. So if you were to decide, in the 5th chapter of Madhyamaka Karika, it says, along with this grasping, the grasping at a self will also be dispelled. So that kind of grasping is what we call as conceptually, philosophically asserted view. So grasping at an autonomous self as distinct, characteristically distinct from the aggregate, has to be philosophically asserted or imputed. Whereas grasping at an autonomous self does not necessarily need to be philosophically asserted, because they can also be innately born grasping. So that is in the 4th chapter, so I missed that. In the 4th chapter, grasping at a self is also dispelled altogether. So. Your Holiness, you have taught us on fundamental wisdom and 400 verses by Ayadeva, and also Madhyamika Karika by Chandrakirti. So how should we engage with this practice?
지금 그 부분 되기도 와. 네 야고 사야래. 아주 상관로 지금 그 부분 파다고 찌기다 불이 쓰잖아요. 오늘 저번에 내가는 미미서야 네 야고 상당히 영심을 둬. 지금 그 부분 군조 직 배가지고 이 파다고 뒤찌기다 세. 아주 상관로다 분지스 봐. 인지시 그는 세우래. 야고 상당히 영심을 둬. 애니 추루 상을 this is the go of the game you did 누가 좀 사야 야호 상다나 샤송아 단 지도 거 보면 미디어 주의 나나 애니 가서라지 말에 때 떨지랑 다 되게 그렇지 떨지랑 다 미디어에다 나보산지에서 쳐차되어래 지도 거 보면 미디어 봐 애니 대 가서 떨지랑 다야 민들고 다 매봐 사드 숨쉬지 자대어래 저들이 인도잖아요 다좀 된데 다 매봐서 숨어야 돼 아니 당연히 비가 좀 되는데 먹으면 된다 지금 점에서 쉬고 있는 좀 된데 그 자가 용자 다도 다와 여기 있는데 시스템 좀 시걸로 하자 다음에送말다 봐 태국 좀 된데 권한 게 루루까지 잡아 대주크도 쉬우지 공부시네 다도 다와 되게 다시셔 뒤기 심신 소야 디제네 당가랑 알아서 등에 medö버지 인신자라 동리 다와 상마다는 탑식으로 켜네 요 말에 죄송아 자 드네 인상 다디 나도 로좀에 내 연구 말했으니 순별로 싸워지는 시켜 말다 죄송아 나 좀 된데 제라이 좀 된데 그 송리야 내 로좀 맞잖아 좀 된데 그 송디 아니 네 냠래 마셔나 큰저 쓰인 거래 아니 좀 된데 그 송디 냠래 용어야 시거래 되게 써야 돼 아니 냠용 용어야 아니 곰니 용거래 곰바 용어라 이지 거래 이지 용어라 섬중기 내버터 거래 섬중기 내버터 용어라 투중기 싫어기 그게 고차가 거래 자 두센다 어나 네 최신바이면도 아니 좀 된데 다 샤갈 슈로 나설로 인데 소소 라와래 저 시집지 대바지고 게 말아야 좀 된데 있잖아 인사만 주잖아 로좀 저거를 맞다 띵에 용말스니 아니 슈베를 켜는 시켜 말다 내가 차샤네 그다 배지 돈이 되게 멋이 러인 삼주 돈이 상당네 배지 로다 주주 하람 돈이 상당도 로 든주 신샤 장주 상당도 로 배지 노주 신샤 다 디디 상당 도구스전에 애니스면야 요태버지 뭐냐 전에게다 장주 심사 되기 아니 랑진진기 단연 못된 조 준주시 준주 뭐냐 전에게 롱도 리베탄에 직배 주인도잖아 랑진진다 답다 나고 나창이 통도와 현진지사다 시우자심 통도와 저다 현진 랑진진을 녀못된 현진지 권배 락질을 능시 탐지 년도 샤인 것도 아니 톡바체야 남도체야 지금 타르도는 소소 좀이 지부디로 켜내셔야겠다 되게랑 비비스는 게 되지 고소 지금 loneliness 어디 이니 사람들이 미거부도 잘 loneliness 되게 녀다 인거 알았으니 되게 싫어 자자가 능시 년도 샤인을 전에 loneliness 한 켜내면 돼 다시 장주고 생각상담 능시 년을 샤인을 전에 어떻게 지 랑진진 왕기 지 레도망고 지 대대하고 배트메 차용기 다 될이야 갑된데 아니 돈이 따와지 직상로랑 din이도 대연도 뭐는 전에 그 표기 생리야 요태야지 철도 남지기 싫어고 타네 갑된데 제래 아니 현진지 디독스레연도 쉬워진도 버셔버리셔 돈이 따와 상마다는 아주 미레버디 인 거하스케야 말다 그래서 아니 장조 샤주제제 미레버 상도는 철도 남지기 싫어 상도는 레버시도 봐 고바고 공연 시버디 세고 수지 샤샤는 다这个是
如同刚刚所引用的经文所说的
So Buddha Shakyamuni himself, when he got enlightened, he said, I've found a teaching which is very profound, free from elaboration, unclear like nature, and non-compounded. And then at the end of this stanza, he says, he again continues that the sufferings of beings cannot be eliminated by his hand, neither can he transform his own understanding onto us. Only by giving us the teaching on truth will we be liberated. So this stanza is very important. Only by understanding the truth will beings be liberated. This is important. Now, to understand truth, there are different presentations of truth. Some philosophers, some religious traditions and belief in the concept of creation, that again is very nice. For example, if we were all to understand ourselves as creations of the same God, our common Father, then if we were to practice that concept sincerely, then there is no way we can kill one another in the name of religion or whatever differences. So that again has so many benefits. And then on the other side, we have other religious traditions which do not agree with the concept of creation. So, and then we also have some religious philosophies which assert the presence of soul or Atma or a self, which is characterized of three factors or three criteria that of permanence, unitary, and independent. Such a self is not accepted in Buddhism. So to understand the absence of such a self, you really need critical analysis. You have to analyze over and again, and you have to understand the concept of impermanence or concept of dependency in order to understand the absence of such a unitary, permanent, independent self or soul. Now, when Buddha Shakyamuni presented the teaching of selflessness or anatma, it was not as if he was revolting against the past religious traditions. This is only because Buddha has, for eons, you can say, for eons he had contemplated on the absence of such a self and thoroughly understood the absence of an independent, unitary, permanent self. And the benefit is that once you discover the absence of such a self, and then naturally all those grosser levels of delusions that arises from such self-grasping will decline. So this is, now when I say you have to study the concept of selflessness and also emptiness, this is not to say this can only be done if you really believe in yourself without being lazy and without being discouraged by thinking that these are such complicated philosophy beyond my reach. If you have that kind of attitude towards the Buddha's teaching, then there's not much sense in saying you are a follower of Buddha Shakyamuni. And it's better to say, Buddha, now you don't have to speak all those complicated teachings. You might just say nothing. You can tell the Buddha that. But this is not it. The Buddha has taught extensively, and we as his followers need to study his teachings thoroughly. Now, in order to practice the teachings of emptiness as well as the practice on compassion, you have to understand what to practice. So, in order to, and you also need to develop certain kind of like conviction. And so conviction can only happen if you have some basic understanding of the teachings. If you have understanding of the teachings, based on this understanding, through more contemplation, then you gain conviction. And if you have conviction, then to practice and habituate yourself with these concepts of emptiness and compassion, it becomes easier and becomes plausible. So therefore, it's very important for you to, if you really want to understand Buddha's teaching, it's important that you first need to develop the understanding based on hearing. And so you need to study. So in my own case, I have heard about emptiness some 70 years back, and I could say I have also contemplated on emptiness for between more than 60, between 60 to 70 years. I've thought a lot on emptiness, and for the last 50 years, I can say I also have. I also have thought a lot on the concept on bodhicitta and the practice of compassion. So through my own experience, I can say that the practice of emptiness and the practice of compassion, if you really use the reasonings as presented in the scriptures, as particularly as with respect to bodhicitta, as presented in Shantidevas Bodhisattvacharya Avatara, I can say with certainty that you can really develop firm conviction in the negativity associated with self-cherishing and the positivity associated with cherishing others. And if you were to use the reasoning as presented in Shantideva's text, then there is no way we can have any defense for being selfish. So this morning I heard over the BBC that nowadays for the elderly, loneliness is some kind of difficulty that all go through. But if you have if you cherish others, and if that kind of compassion is associated or complemented by the wisdom of emptiness, then there is no way you can feel lonely. So the practice of compassion, bodhicitta is really powerful in enlightening yourself and in enhancing your own happiness and joy. So if we were not to think of emptiness, or not to utilize our precious human brain to contemplate on emptiness, then I would rather say just take out your precious human brain through some kind of surgery. Why need if you are not to use it judiciously? So since we have this wonderful human intelligence and human brain, we should use it properly in order to contemplate on reality thoroughly.
신주간에 지금 무주통부인에 자꾸 컨트리나 디컨트시고나 그래서 신주간에 용되게 메달을 통부인에 그 컨트리 입도 가도 컨트리 거였어요. curiosity 신주간에 봐. 근데 그人性 지로도 스타지 지 가인에 why 서다 가리나 사대. 저들이 펜샤 토도가 그다. 즉 삼년 아니야. 가리니 즉 자주지야 코르마도 즉 남상식 이시지야의 현치고 말이. 자들이인데 루루 yap사로 소버디디 좀 되는 랑가 깔리니 자주단 심주셔니 능도가. 다들 뭐냐 전에 그 시시리. 그래서 자는 거를 신주간에 즉 철도 남지기 싫어로 즉 도스 철도 남지기 서로 중국으로 제대로다 되게 거다 중국체하게 된다. 띵서우지 감성된 신의 직성을야 가솔지하지 용도가 싫어 차와 싫어 싸와 싫어 묘 싫어 싸와 다 디디 표시 동서디 다신냠지 창조고 셈 아니 동리 다와 디디 성던데 뭐나 자네게 뒤 다더버도 랑로 두부당에 그 랑진진다 아니 덴진이부터 다 신의 방으로 접수해 정도가 독수리
As a small child, I always had some kind of curiosity. For example, when I used to see small insects, I would naturally think, from where did this come from? And when I also saw some flowers, and the differences between the different flowers, I would say, I would think, why are there differences between these two kinds of flowers and so forth? So curiosity is very important. We always need to think why is this happening and how is this happening. So that kind of curiosity or an aspiration to learn more is very, very important. So also when you are presented some kind of fact or by some other people, you shouldn't be lured into believing in things that you are presented with. You should somehow use your analysis to see how much truth is there in that. So the great followers, Buddha Shakyamuni, Sajjana, Nagarjuna, and Chandrakirti, they have thoroughly used their wisdom to discern what is interpretive and what is definitive, even with respect to Buddha Shakyamuni's own teachings. So using your wisdom of discernment is very important. And especially if you were to use your wisdom of discernment on important points such as emptiness as well as compassion, then they become very powerful. And in the long run, they become very powerful sources of joy for you.
Oh, Takada, the Chanju Sem, the Tony Dawade, the Machanzo, Kama Losh, shedding a diggy, a Kale Germany. Sound down. The Lomanguru Samdani, that Tatam was so Shukshu, she ever diggy, she would pink door. Just a Machanzo Shash of dear, she Rankishin dog, Lamjane, Shura Zera Tangwe, Tugaki, Dre Yi member Sajane, Gava Dumbo Union, Zinju Jixon, so on and Shinji. Other, the Machanzo Shadi, Bejanal, Yaya, Sungsha, Mema, Sungsha, Yordas, and Mamu Luju. Number daughter Joseph Lujutin Tone Shigmera. So you good was it. That does it. Go Kanda. Ganam Judici, Macha, Navigaloris, Chaka Sensuris. Kanda, Jumzen the Betone, Racha Chunamado, the Lungla Sungus Lona, they Mazunam Ju and the Dasset Shara Dasada Mekaduria, Longjana, someone bigger. Yeah, Kushu Chambuchene. Send love to just like a loans on the dam, Menduga, Ribet, she would catch a Marisha. Just a Chanju from the $20, Chisam with Ribet, this never children trash model, Ribet, any Lanshana, Gamotas, Chena Marta. Michulu Samolo, Mikuship Chigi, Kuship Chigi, Mil Pengi or Lot on that house in Lia, Mil Panda Chayari. When it's Jesus in Chara. In the social Sunday, did you come the Meva, they are doing the Shosungua, that the name is only Digangi, Chuju Jamada Didi, Milia, Pengior, things of Kishu Chara. Then Namba Yashu, they can't see me. Nambe should pay a can't bezu me. You need to go to Dumze some down yonder. She doesn't know Sanjay, dinner on a 10 euro. She regret on a two, she Lulu Yakseg. Don't go 2 moments, but you don't share you. Don't want to tell you what the tuning is. Just one. So the Rindu, the guy, Nangvechu, Tonasha, and Kavakashegi, Sanjay Chudi, Nalindi Chudi, send the to be Chuju race in the Sudua. Did the birthday. So the Rindu, she, the Kadagare, La Ligani, Kayo Layo, some your teacher. She chooses to know when the Tanaka some shitty on the Hachi. Gopa Shiva Danon Saturday, Gordon told the Mayday, Gordon Jibu Surgical Guru, you was to. Didn't you tell about me? Shiva Danon Saturday on the Gadua.
因为菩提心和空性的思维，而且这个思维呢，不是从天而降不劳而获，不是的，我是通过多年的努力。
So, with regard to the practice of bodhicitta, this altruistic spirit of enlightenment, and also the view of emptiness, what I actually, when I speak about these to you, when I do so from my own, having seen the benefit of it to you, for having, because of my having thought about them and contemplated them and actually integrated these principles within myself for many years, and because of the effort that I've put for many years, and have the, I could be of benefit to you when I talk about these to you, and you also see this, and so it's like. It's not like regurgitating something that I've studied from some text and reciting it to you, but actually you see that it's beneficial when I speak about these to you. And just as it is said in prayer of the stages of the path of enlightenment, Lama Tsongkhapa, Master Tsongkhapa says, may I be able to share this experience out of whatever I have realized, having been moved by great compassion to others. And so I speak from some degree of experience, and don't just, therefore it's important for us as followers of the Buddhism that we need to rely not just on scriptural authority alone, but the reason is more important. And with regard to these two principles of bodhicitta and the view of emptiness, there's every reason to see their truth and reality, and therefore to practice them and share with others. And of course, I do respect all religious traditions in the world, because they help because so many people in the world, and they have helped for such a long time. But nevertheless, when it comes to philosophical understanding of emptiness and so forth, of course, Buddhism has the profound teaching of dependent origination and emptiness. I never say that Buddhism is the best religion, but it has so many reasons to prove the reality of emptiness and so forth, and therefore, from that point of view, it's maybe we could say it's the most profound, tradition. And some Chinese scholars and have even said that Nalanda tradition of the Buddhism is scientific. And so, though I do not claim to have reached or attained that of true cessation within me, but I could say that from having, put effort and contemplated on the teaching of emptiness and so forth over like 24 hours and so forth, I could say that there is some kind of experience, simulated kind of experience of true cessation, and therefore the peacefulness and excellence and so forth.
Sesam Rigsam Chigi, go Tatuzana, Medenge, Rangutu Medenge. The Jindu, Dumerana, Janini, Damage Salala. Any Jemmy Ings Talalas, Jado Chavdoa. The religious home could do Zane, any turning money, Yabajin, Mountado, Zimbe, Shamba Day, any Gulurus, any. Let Numo Namdole, Tada, Jele. Chimijik, Namdog Gavli said, she was a touch over that. So Tuni Congo Junzid the Diridua. Let Numo Namdoles, Tada, Jeles, Dinzig Jelechumris. That is Henry with Aran Shayungi. Some country cabinet to Diran Shayungua. The Dig number is then Shayo Marta. Koran Tasha and Shayungua. So the Hindu, no. That's German, don't want Nikin Gavanjus. Any Leja Coaching, don't want Nisum Gavanjus, but must have a coach of Russia. Don't want Nikin Gavanjus, Lodu, Lamde, 동과 니수 가본 주스럽도 꼭대 들으셔 대양에 다서 시험하다디 콜라만 직군들 내게 자시로 시험 시험이 시험 사직 르무직군들 내 시험이 쟤네 어르무식이 레자다 투주사 여기 있는잖아요 레자 고 동과 니수 가본 주세요 고아지도 디송기 나한테 시험이 럭치무시 통스 어디지 서진이 있는잖아요 간다 취미 이제 남도了 때네 다도 자시로 그냥 직지하래 드자시나 디무송 아니 남버돌레 중 송스 롱거 주시체 아니 독도 미도 친질로 아니 템벌레 중 뉴스 더 취미 이제 남도 치 독보다 치 미독벌로 다 내가 전쟁원의 여버시 나다도 셴버디 치 독보다 치 미독 취미 이제 남도 쪼다 달전에 차상기야 돼 더리게서 벌거 한다 자나가 한다 디 퀀텀 피지ክ스 지기에 어디 차단기야 돼 말이다 전쟁원의 자치도 시샤로 치르치 전쟁원의 주버지 민도 삼바치고 퀀텀 피지크스 배 이지 토딩에 대해서 삼는 나라 지 상보던 년배 아태는 지버도 숙충화스
因此我在思维空性的时候，我也会引用量子物理的理念来去观察空性。
So with regards to the quantum physics also, where the quantum physicists say that there is nothing with regard to the external matter, external things and matter, there is nothing objectively existing. And so I also give thought to this kind of assertion and also not only think about the non-objective existence of the external phenomena, but also the subjective inner world of mind as no objective existence. And so having contemplated them, I also come to understand the what is said in the Jonang tradition, that there is this bare appearance of the illusory nature of things and so forth, and that there everything completely dissolves within the sphere of emptiness, which is inexpressible. And so Master Nagarjuna also says that the negative mental afflictions and karma arise from our mental elaborations, conceptual elaborations, and these in turn are rooted, the conceptions, the exaggerated conceptions, and then these in turn are rooted in the conceptual elaboration, and that is done away with or ended by emptiness. And so with regard to this, the reading of Sanskrit, they got into Kuno Lama Rinpoche Tenzin Gyaltsen, from whom I received the teaching on the Mula Madhyamaka Karika by Master Nagarjuna. He says in the Sanskrit there is two readings. There are two readings in this final line One is this instrumental case that the elaborations are ended by emptiness, and the other is elaborations are ended within the emptiness.
된적이도 퀀텀 피지ክ스 저게 레벨턴에 지다 제 가서를 시행 계시고 뭐인 봐. 생고 띵내배 내버 톱등에 되라 패저 차단해야 돼. 처음에 쳐봐 맨로 섬네. 내가 사카실 넘요. 된적이 한다 퀀텀 피지크스에 이지 띵내니 등에 되죠. 제 넘주도 니리 초게도 차단 걸로 락바데 또 캐와 만들어서네. 근데 가셔야 되냐? 님십신의 중로 전화서네. 근데 럼요, 상카실 럼요. 돼야지 쇼들이 생에 가게 뭐죠? 다 그새 말해.是吧？다니 내자 어디 자나나. 안다. 네 가서 컨트롤피스 쉐딩에 어디 들리세요?
我这一种的说法是因为我从
And so Kondal Lama gets, and according to his explanation, there are these two readings in Sanskrit of the fourth line. And if you read it in the instrumental case, it refers to that of true cessation that you attain. And if you read it in the other reading, then it refers to that of the true path. In any case, Master Nagarjuna also makes it clear further in his Mula Madhyamaka Karika, where he says the attachment, hatred, and confusion arise from conceptual exaggerations, and because of these, on the basis of seeing this exaggeration, whereby you see you exaggerate things being beautiful and or ugly in an exaggerated manner. That is because of this elaboration, the conceptual elaboration. And so because of our ignorance, we have this exaggerated outlook on things, by which we actually see something beautiful as extremely, absolutely beautiful, and something ugly as absolutely ugly, and thereby have the attachment, anger, and so forth. And so this is how the mind works. And one quantum physicist from China, there in China proper, and has actually said that with regard to the quantum physicists saying that things have no objective existence, I had since a few years actually had this curiosity. If people, the quantum physicists and so forth, who are truly convinced that things have no objective existence, could have a different emotional reaction or not, that their raw emotions may not be so active or active in them like those of ordinary people, that they may have less kind of reaction, emotional reaction to things, seeing either good or bad and so forth. And no one actually, I had actually expressed that people should research on this, but there were no responses to that. But recently I found out that one Chinese physicist had actually said that someone who is fully convinced of there being no objective existence, in things, truly convinced with it, actually their reaction to things being called absolutely black and white is not there. It's much better with their emotional reaction. And so we will have some conference on quantum physics and Buddhist science somewhere time this year in November. So those who have studied and understand the Madhyamaka philosophy well, they will not be left behind when they have discussions with quantum physicists. So if you think that it's difficult to study the Madhyamaka treatises, then study quantum physics.
Modern psychology, any quantum physics does
So you should study also modern psychology so that you'll be able to understand the system of mind and emotions that are taught in Buddhist scriptures better, and so also study quantum physics. So we'll stop here.
The level mutin 主要的呀，要主要看这个瓜肉，但你无可能啥做。
So we have used our, brain so much that in order to give sustenance to it, we need food. So let's break here for lunch. There is a review session in the afternoon at 3:45 at the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics Prayer Hall, and the review session is led by H.H.THE Dalai Lama. Please pass this message around.